Okay, fellas, back at it. Really good Maryland team that we're getting ready for. Offensively, very explosive. Coach Loxley does a great job. Certainly, he's been a handful for us in our time back here. We haven't had a ton of success against them, and especially playing on the road. So we got our hands full. Offensively, they're explosive. The Edwards kid, the quarterback, has done a really nice job. You know, he's up at the top of the league in passing. Receiving room is as good as you'll play against. It's an NFL receiving room. Felton leads the Big Ten, and Prather isn't very far behind. They really do. They have an NFL receiving room. And then Hemby, he's been playing. It feels like he's been playing forever. Very experienced. And then the O-line is gigantic. And they made a change here a couple weeks ago. And, we all here at Rutgers know Coach Robileski very well. A lot of respect for him and the job that he does. So, going to be a huge challenge for our defense for sure. When you flip it over, defensively, they're gigantic up front, especially their two interior guys. That's going to be a challenge to get some movement there. They're big, they're strong, they're physical. Linebacker group, experience. Hippolyte, another guy that, I feel like we've been saying his name for a long, long time. So, real good football player. And then the secondary is quality players, really good long athletes. So our hands are full, and special teams, they do a good job. Some guys we know that are coaching their special teams, the most respect. Coach Zook is back there doing special teams and known Ron for a long time. So well coached, quality football team going on the road, and going to be quite a challenge. Try to answer what I can.
Just defensively, what's the key to continue that improvement that the team showed the other day, especially when it comes to tackling and the quality of tackling?
Well, this is kind of a different operation. What Coach Loxley does offensively is a little different than what we faced last week. It's different every week, right? But this one is quite a bit different. So we're going to have a good plan for sure, put them in position to make those tackles. But as I mentioned, some of those names, they're really athletic guys. So it's going to be really straining, to the level that we strained and beyond. That I think our players should be able to say, all right, that is the standard that we have around here. That's what it's been around here. Nothing lower. And you got to. I really believe this. You're either getting better or you're getting worse. You don't stay the same. So it's got to be a little bit better or we're getting worse. But we got to have that kind of commitment to playing for each other and just splattering your body around the field.
We got used to seeing Talia Tagovailoa the last couple of years. You mentioned the quarterback playing well, maintaining that system and playing well there. Does this offense look different with the change of quarterback, or what's your just assessment of the year over year for Maryland? And
a little bit different, but not. You can see the bones are still the bones, right? And I think that they'll go into, they've had a lot of success against us offensively. So certainly we're studying what they did and trying to, fix some of those things. But it's not like we didn't try to do that last year. We just have to go out and play at the quality level that we played this year, or last week. We got to do that, and we got to build upon that. And we're capable of doing that. Now, health comes into play again. So we'll see who can actually do it. We had that extra week to get guys feeling better, but now we're back into the weekly grind. So we're going to find out.
So you run some 4 wide receiver sets, which hasn't really been common recently. What went into this? Does it speak to the wide receivers, the quarterback, or just want to change things up?
I think it speaks to a lot of things, Bobby. I think it speaks to the wide receivers. We have quality wide receivers in our program. It speaks to Coach Shiraka's experience, that he has the knowledge and he's comfortable enough to adapt on the fly. And it also, you got to remember, we lost our starting tight end and we lost our second team tight end, right? So, and that's the same thing we had at the running back position. We had lost our second team running back, then we lost our first team running back. So I think you have to be more creative. And creative, when people say the word creative, it's not always double reverses and flea flickers. Creative is personnel. Creative is little things that, unless you're a coach, you don't have any idea are happening, but make a significant difference in the execution. So we'll continue to pick and prod and figure out ways. That's our job, but it's a challenge for sure.
Abram and Tyler Needham looked like they got pretty banged up down at the end of the game. Do you anticipate those guys playing again this season? Just the nature of the injuries look pretty bad.
Well, we'll do that availability report on Saturday, and that'll be the technical or the final word on that.
Just on Wesley Bailey, you kind of touched on it in your post-game presser, but just was it a decision for him to redshirt? Was it an injury thing?
No, he can't play. He's physically unable to play, and we held out hope, but I think some of that caused some stress too. So I wanted to, he needs to get better. He needs to heal, and so it is what it is.
He does have the option to redshirt because he only played 4 games.
He does.
Did you talk to him at all about coming back
No,
next year?
I haven't talked to him at all about that. It's all been about his health.
Just kind of going back to that D-line, like you mentioned, Wesley Bailey out for the year. Keontae Hamilton's been a guy throughout the season, played inside and outside. Defensive line had probably its best performance this season, given those injuries. What can you say about the versatility of some of those guys, and how can you repeat that performance this weekend?
Well, I don't know if you can repeat that performance. I hope you can, and better. But I agree with you on Keontae Hamilton. He's been a stalwart the entire year. It's been the one guy that I've counted on, and he's come through every single week. He's played well. He's graded out well every week. I don't make any of that stuff public, but I'll just share that he's been the most consistent performer each and every week, showing up, doing his job, doing it at multiple positions. He's a guy that we really depend on.
Jordan Walker, guy had a big play. Can you talk about how you found him and his development? Because he was a walk-on who played receiver.
Sure can. Yeah, it's a great story, right? You mentioned it. Bob Frazier found him up in Rochester, New York, and was really, really sold on him and kind of drove the process and really talked me into it. He was a tall, skinny kid. And I don't know, maybe he was 199 pounds, maybe 198. I can't remember exact. He's now 260-something, and he's playing on the edge. So he went from wide receiver to tight end to rush end. And really, really nice play there, getting the safety. But he's been, we saw it on scout team. We saw him getting better. Then we saw it in the spring doing it against our own people. But again, he had never done it, right? And he just keeps showing up and working really, really hard. He's one of the hardest trainers in the summer. And when he came to training camp, he's one of the hardest working guys, and every day comes to work with a great attitude. And he's a great example for people in our program. And I think the best is yet to come for him. I think, when you look at him, he looks like he walked out of Giant training camp. I mean, the guy's tremendous physical specimen. And he's made himself into that. You talk about a self-made player. Jay Walk's a self-made player.
Your 2 young wide receivers, Ian Strong, KJ Duff, have a kind of unique backstory playing at the same high school. They're both emerging. What has their development meant for your offense?
Well, Ian's been a big part of our offense last year and this year, right? And the best part about Ian is, we recruited him to be a safety. Ian played wide out in high school, but only on game day. So he trained as a DB all week, and then they'd put him in and tell him what route to run. So you talk about a guy who has relatively not a lot of experience, and I think can be, as good as we've had here. I think Ian, sky's the limit. It's all going to be a matter of him staying healthy and him being able to continue to grow. With Coach Brock and with Coach Perry, there's not 2 better receiver coaches in America. So to have them both here, I think that's part of the reason the receiver room keeps getting better and better. But those 2 guys are awfully talented, and to think that they were on the same high school team is, they won some games. There's a reason teams win games.
Just with Antoine Raymond, I guess what stood out about him and when you were recruiting him, and just kind of what have you seen from his progress over the last few months as he's joined this program and gotten just seemingly better and better?
Yeah, Antoine is a neat kid. He the whole story on that is amazing, right? That we were recruiting him like a lot of people were, and then the program discontinues, at his school, and we saw that he could graduate and reclass, and we kind of moved on it quickly, and we had a great relationship with he and his mom, and one thing led to another, and all of a sudden he's on our campus training, and you could just tell he was a little bit more mature, physically and emotionally, really tough, and willing to do whatever was asked. And again, I think Coach Shaw does a great job with those guys. If you look, Like I said, guys, it's the third and fourth running back. You can say what you want, but we've not been in that position in years past where our third and fourth running back would be able to step in and win a Big Ten game and rush for over 100 combined. So I'm really proud of those guys. I'm proud of Coach Shaw, the way he's prepared his room, and we just got to keep going, you know. And if we can get Kyle back, and now we have some guys that, you know, we knew what Benji could do. You know, we were trying to your redshirt question, we were trying to redshirt Benji, and we effectively are going to be able to now, which is important. So just see where the chips fall here this week, and we'll get them all ready, and then whoever can play, you know, they'll be the guys that play.
Kaj got the start at safety over Desmond Manuson, and it looked like you guys used primarily Tyreen Powell and Daryl Jabomi at linebacker. Just were those changes coming out of the bye week game specific for Minnesota? Do you anticipate them being the rest of the season? And specifically at linebacker, how much did it help to just have the same two guys mostly in the same spots? The continuity help you guys defensively?
Well, I don't know if it was the continuity or the same two guys. The fact of the matter is, you know, Tyreen Powell was healthy. And he wasn't 100%. Don't misunderstand that. But he was a lot closer than he was out at SC. And he couldn't have gone that many plays at Southern Cal. And I think when, you know, Tyreen is a pro football player. So when he's in there, it steadies a lot of things. Right here, technically and mentally, he's special. And then his physical attributes. I mean, there was a couple times, he's a 255-pound guy that when he hits the lineman, he knocks them back. You know, he's got great snap, and he made some real big-time plays. And still, I still feel bad for him because he's probably 85%. He's still not 100%, but him at 85 is better than most at 100. Moses Walker's a real good football player, and you know, but they were playing really well. And sometimes when you get two guys that are hot together, you don't want to break it up. And we talked a number of times, is this the time to get Moses in? Because we want to get him in. We got to find a way to get him on the field. He's too good of a player to stand next to us. So we'll figure something out package-wise. I can't tell you that we definitely thought that's the way the game would go with those two. But we kept asking him, Reem, how you feeling? And he kept saying, I'm good. You know, and he's a grown man. I mean, he'll share with me when he's not feeling right. He'll say, I need a blow, coach.
Starting him at safety, him playing the majority of the snaps there.
Yeah, you know, Kaj, I think he started opening game, right? So, I mean, the guy has been through it as a freshman, but he keeps getting better and better. We think there's high promise. We think we have some really good young safeties that you haven't seen very much of yet. But I thought, you know, you saw what Flip looks like when he feels a little better. Sometimes it's easy to forget. You know, he is a special player. He just hasn't been able to run very well and stop and all those things. So to see him out there again, not 100, he's probably 80, but still he's such a good player. And when he hits you, man, you feel it, right? Shaquan Loyal felt better Saturday, and you could see him making plays. So Des is a good football player. Des will play for us. It's just one of those deals that there wasn't a ton of plays, and you know we were getting off the field. So when you got something cooking, you don't always have to mess it up. Now up front we rotate constantly, so that's just the norm. But in the back seven it was going well, and we kept it going well.
Final question. Coach, just on Ethan's performance, you know, on Saturday, he played incredibly well. You know, had some big throws, had a big touchdown tight near the goal line there near the end of the game, fourth quarter. Just talk about his progress over the last several weeks, and he gets better and better every week. And of course, working, you know, as you mentioned, a lot of injuries, personnel changes, his ability to really just manage the offense and go out there and execute for you guys.
Yeah, I think Ethan's has done a good job. Is getting better every week, and we're going to need to. This Maryland group is they're going to get after us in the front. The back end, they're long. You can't miss by much, right? You know, they have really good at taking the football away. Very opportunistic group. So, but he is getting better, and I was really, really pleased. Am really pleased. There's a couple balls he would have had back Saturday if he could, and we got to try to eliminate those. That's going to be the key because, you know, coming down the stretch now, every game is going to. If we do what we're supposed to do, every game's going to be tight. And you can't make those errors. Like you see plays, as I always say, games take on a life of their own. And it's one or two plays that guide the game in a whole different direction. And, you know, I always tell the players, I wish I could tell you those plays, and then we could kind of just go golfing. But that ain't the way it works, right? You got to play every single play as hard as you can, and when those plays come up, then you're in position to make them. So that'll be the task Saturday night for sure. It's a tough environment. Weather's going to start to become an issue now. It's starting to turn into the fall here in the Northeast. So a whole different set of circumstances, and we got to be ready for that. So that's what this week's about: preparing for this event, for this game, and getting ready to go. And I'm confident our guys will. I want to a couple things I want to mention. I talked to you coming into the bye week, the long trip back from California and all that. I was really proud of the way our guys attacked the academics too. It's in that period now where we're in a very, very busy time. Things are coming due, and that was a huge amount of pressure on our guys, as well as getting ready for the Minnesota game. And I was pleased with that. And then I'd be remiss if I didn't wish everybody a happy Veterans Day. I think today is a day that sometimes flies under the radar, and it can't. It just can't, because the people that served and have given their lives for us to live the way we do, I think it's something that we all need to appreciate. And I know I do, and I know you guys do too. But just thought I need to make sure I mention that. So we'll see you on Saturday.